Ken Bentley joins us. He's one of the co-founders of the Advocates Pro Golf Tour, and we're very excited to announce that we're starting a relationship with the Advocates and doing more content to tell the great stories of the professional golfers trying to make their way through the Advocates. And want to have Ken on to kind of set a primer for people who may have heard of the Advocates Tour, but maybe are not completely familiar. And I'd love to start at the beginning, Ken. I mean, you've been at this since 2010 with Adrian Stills as your co-founder. How did you come up with the idea for the Advocates? And what was the process like to get this tour just off the ground?
Well, it was really based on a conversation I had with Adrian Stills. I used to get a bunch of my friends together and a couple times a year, and we would go around to different golf courses. We would raise money for charity at these different cities that we'd go into. And at one of them, I asked Adrian why weren't there more African Americans on tour, because Adrian had played on tour in the 80s. And he said that the United Golf Association tour back then gave guys a chance to play and develop their games. And he felt like if we could create something like that we could get some guys out on tour. And so I went to two companies that I was associated with, Farmers and Nestle, got grants from each. And we started in 2010 with 3 tournaments, largely on inner city golf courses like Chester, Washington and LA, and Rogers Park and Tampa. And the thing that was so amazing about that is when I got to Tampa, our first tournament at Rogers Park, it kind of blew my mind to see 50 African-American guys, hitting the ball so well, so passionate about the game. And I knew right then that we were on to something, that we could really create something that these guys could, develop their games and maybe make it to the PGA Tour. So if you fast forward to today, from those 3 tournaments and $40,000 total prize money, we're going to have 13 tournaments this year. The amazing thing is that 2 of those tournaments will be on major courses, Valhalla and Torrey Pines. We've got a partnership with the PGA Tour, so we were on TPC courses. But it's amazing how far the tour has come in just a short time.
How did the relationship with the PGA Tour come about, and how has it evolved in the last couple of years, in particular because the PGA Tour has really put some muscle in the content game behind telling some of the Advocate stories?
Well, Steve Mona, who was head of the World Golf Foundation, and I used to talk about diversity, and Steve is a guy who's really passionate about diversity in golf. And so he went to the PGA Tour, I think it was 2012, and asked them to make an investment in our tour. And so they gave us a 5-year deal with a small amount of money. And basically, we used to just get a check every January. And so I guess it's maybe 3 or 4 years ago, Allison Keller gave me a call, and she said, look, we've sent you a check every year, but we really want to talk to you about enhancing the relationship. And kind of she put the ball in my court. She said, really, let's decide if we're going to go further with the APGA Tour or we're just going to scrap the idea, but we want to talk about it. And so from that conversation, I went to the PGA Tour headquarters, met with all of their executives, including Jay Monahan, and really, they really stepped up. I got to say, they not only provide the TPC courses to have our tournaments, but we sent our guys down to TPC Learning Center. A number of our guys now take lessons from Todd Anderson. They've been through the fitness center, the fitting studio. The other thing that's been great for us is that they've allowed us to use some of their infrastructure, like the PR department, like to create content. They've also got a team of people at the tour headquarters, Kenyatta Ramsey and Kirsten Sabia, who work with us weekly on helping us, develop the tour. So they've allowed us to really have an infrastructure that we didn't have before.
And how do you see that relationship evolving in the years to come? And has the PGA Tour given you any indication of where they think you guys can take this together?
Well, I think the big thing that we've talked a lot about is player development. I think we're where we want to be as far as tournaments. Our prize money is where we think we want to be, because we surveyed our players and compared ourselves to other mini tours like ours. And so our prize money is fine. We play on better courses than other mini tours. So we think our tournaments are in really good shape. And so we went to the PGA Tour and said, look, if we're going to get our guys to the next level, we have to be able to take advantage of technology. We have to be able to take advantage of top coaching. We have to be able to have our guys practice on top courses. So I really think that the next level for us is to increase player development. And thankfully, the PGA Tour has bought into that as well. And so I think the future will see us doing more things in the player development area, and also giving our guys more access to exemptions into PGA Tour and Korn Ferry Tour events.
How much do you think having guys like Kamayu and Willie Mack and playing in PGA Tour events or Korn Ferry Tour events, how much do you think that's helped increase exposure, not only to the public, to the Advocates, but fellow professional golfers to the Advocates?
Well, I think it's been amazing having those guys, because one, we really feel like our tour is about making dreams come true. Our guys, we're giving them the opportunity to make their dreams come true. And when you see, or our players see, Kamayu and Willie playing on the highest stage, to see them on TV competing and just getting that opportunity, I think it's inspirational for them. I was playing golf out in Palm Springs, and I just happened to get matched with a guy. And so we're talking about different things and what we do. He asked me what I did, and I told him I was the CEO of the APGA Tour, and immediately said, "Well, that's Kamayu's tour. That's Kamayu Johnson's tour." And here's a guy that would never know about the APGA Tour. He was from Orange County and would never have that knowledge before, but he associates Kamayu with the APGA Tour. Another time, a guy told me that just having Willie Mack out there playing has inspired him, and he feels like he's got an opportunity now to one day play the Genesis. So I think that there's those guys, even though they didn't make the cut and probably play as well as they would have liked, they've inspired just so many golfers and, young guys and old guys. So I think they've really, in their own way, helped to grow the game.
And creating the university rankings at the collegiate level to get guys opportunities coming fresh out of school, to get them on the right footing. How important has that been for the broader goal of the APGA Tour?
Well, I think that's been really amazing, because we really feel like Black colleges are our feeding system. And so if we're going to grow our tour, and if we're really going to get guys out on the PGA Tour, it has to start before they reach the APGA Tour. And so to get these guys to have sponsorship once they leave college, I think it's amazing, because I always look at golf kind of, especially college, as like the foster system. Because when guys are in college, they get everything taken care of. They get their schedules taken care of. They get equipment. They get all of that. But once they leave college, they're basically out on their own. They have to figure everything out for themselves. They no longer get free equipment and all of that. So now, through the APGA collegiate rankings, these guys will get sponsorship for the rest of the year to play tournaments. We're going to add them to our development program, so they'll have access to coaches. And so they'll get that jump start that they really need. And I think it'll make a huge difference.
Yeah, it strikes me, regardless of what you're trying to do from the professional ranks, that the hardest part of being a pro is, one, learning how to be a pro, and two,
Right.
getting chances to play, and you're settling up on two of those things for these guys coming out of college.
Oh yeah, I think that's a big thing. And you talk about learning how to be a professional. And one of the things we're going to do is match these guys up with a APGA member to be a mentor for them. Because I think that's huge. And it's one of the other benefits of our PGA Tour partnership is that we've been able to get PGA Tour members to get involved in our tour. Charles Howell, has been on Zoom calls with our guys. Patrick Reed is giving us a portion of what he won at the Farmers Open. And then you've got Billy Horschel that's been over the top wanting to help us. So you've got guys that are out there winning on tour that want to impart knowledge to our players. And I think that's going to be a tremendous part of our future.
From the player development side, I mean, what are the things that advocates, pros are trying to figure out? What are they trying to improve? What are they trying to get better at? And how is this infrastructure with the PGA Tour, guys like Todd Anderson you mentioned, how's that helping out?
Well, when we surveyed our players, we were surprised to find out that probably 75% of them had never been fitted for clubs. And, which is amazing when you think about it. These guys were given clubs, clubs right off the rack because they couldn't afford to go out and get fitted. The other thing is that, our guys didn't have access to technology. They didn't have access to TrackMan. They didn't have access to Arcos. And so we did a deal with both of those companies. And now we have, each one of our players has the Arcos device. Each one of our players in the player development program. We have TrackMan at every one of our events now. So the guys can have access to technology. We got all the guys fitted in our player development program. And it was amazing to see some guys playing with regular flex shafts. They got swing speeds at, 105, 110 miles an hour, and they're playing with regular flex shafts. But they did what they had to do. They took clubs that, they could get. Yeah. And Willie Mack is quick to tell you that his golf game took a huge leap when he started working with Todd. And not only did Todd help him technically, but the big thing was Todd said, look, you have the ability to play and win on the PGA Tour. And I think Willie hearing that from a guy like Todd was amazing. And so, again, I think the PGA Tour sponsorship, a partnership has really helped with all of that because we wouldn't have had access to Todd Anderson if it wasn't for the PGA Tour partnership.
How much of just being a successful professional is being around other professional golfers, having those opportunities to see, learn from your peers, and just kind of grow up together? I feel like we talk about the class of 2011 on the PGA Tour. These guys that played collegiate golf together. They got to the PGA Tour around the same time. Handful of them are major winners, prolific winners. How important is that to have kind of a generational connection as you go up the ladder together?
Oh, I think it's huge. And you talk about that 2011 class. Well, just think about our APGA collegiate ranking guys. So the 5 guys that come out, they'll be forever linked together, and they'll be able to travel together. They'll be able to help each other. And I see that now on the APGA Tour. Tim O'Neill, who's been out there grinding for a long time, is really a role model for our guys because he really understands how to be a professional. He's played at the highest level. And so you need that. Tiger Woods has become this, this mentor to so many young pros, and guys really look up to him. And Tim O'Neill is that guy on our tour that the guys really look up to. So you need that support system. And I think that's why the guys from 2011 have done so well, is that they have that support system. And our guys will have it from the APGA collegiate ranking, and also will get it once they get out on the APGA Tour.
You had Julian Sury, who's a former top 60 player in the world, compete and win last year on the Advocates. Is there kind of a relationship that can form there with Julian, a guy who has made it to the upper echelon of the pinnacle of golf?
Yeah, I think it says a lot about our tour that Julian would play, and also that he didn't win easily. He won in a playoff.
Yeah.
And also, I tell guys that Tony Finau played our tour championship and finished fourth the year he got on the Korn Ferry Tour. Harold Varner, who's had a great career on the PGA Tour, he finished fourth in our Tampa tournament. So the competition is tough out in APGA Tour events. But Julian Sury, I think, again, that gave us a lot of credibility that a guy like him would play. And our guys got to see him prepare. A number of the guys talked about that how he went about playing golf. And even in our tournament, you wouldn't have known that he wasn't playing a huge European Tour event because he prepared the same way. He took the game seriously. And I think that was a great learning experience for our guys to see him out there and the approach he took to it.
So just kind of wrap everything up, looking toward the future a little bit. I know we talked about the relationship with the PGA Tour, and hopefully that continues to grow and expand. But as more and more people are exposed to the Advocates Pro Golf Association, the tour, what do you want people most to know about the Advocates, and what do you hope they get invested in as a tour?
Well, I think the main thing is that these guys can really play. I think you go out and people are, amazed at how good they are, but also how passionate they are about the game. I mean, these guys love golf because if you think about it, and a lot of guys that are out there on the mini tours, they're going week to week. They're guys with college degrees and could be doing something else, but because of their love of the game, they're sacrificing, and it's a great sacrifice because there's not a lot of money in mini tour events, and for these guys to just keep grinding because of a love of the game and the dream that they have. But also, I see part of our future in preparing guys for the PGA Tour. That'll always be part of it. But I also see us preparing guys for the industry. Because again, these guys have college degrees, they're passionate about the game, they're great players. They've been managing their own business. If you think about it, a guy out on tour, you got to manage your finances, you have to plan your travel, you have to do your own marketing. So they would be great in the golf industry. And so I really see our future as not only preparing guys to play on tour, but for the majority of the guys on our tour, preparing them for a great opportunity in the golf industry.